Hello and welcome to another that makes no sense. Hello and welcome to another Build a Terminator, parts 43 and 44. Now this might be a bit of a weird one because we're working on half a pelvis, or half a hip, maybe the pelvis, but before that we're going to be working up to working on the pelvis. This is the frame, the metal part, and there's half a pelvis back there, and it's plastic, but this is metal, which as ever is quite interesting. Alright, number one task is getting these two little tiny flaps off of the frame. It says to file them down once you've waggled them off with your fingers. Of course I'm going to file them down. Okay, next we've got to take the right side little bit of plastic and stick it into the end, like so. You've got a big hole there, and you put the bottom smaller pin into that hole. You put the smaller one into the bigger one. That's a bit odd, but anyway, that's what happens, and then it comes out looking like that. And just in case you're anything like me and you've already got both of these triangle bits out, this is what happens if you put the wrong one in. It will still fit, but it looks like that, which is obviously not right because it's not flush. Okay, then I have to screw that part in with a little tiny diddy screw, so tiny that I can't even show you it because it's trapped between my fingers. It's a KB screw. You have to put it through there. KB sounds familiar. Sounds like something out of the Back to the Future build, but that was Eagle Moss, wasn't it? Anyway, let's go and get this screwed in. I have to put one nut in there and one nut in there. I was going to say something else, but can't actually say that. But let's just say it's something that only a man can do. And then you have to take this piece, the only other piece that you got with this part, and you're putting it on this side. So obviously you've got to hold it in place, hold the nuts in place. That still sounds bad. And then screw that in from the top. Okay, I have to say that I did find that quite awkward because of itself it's not that awkward, but because it's right on the edge of the frame, I found that quite awkward. So next is nothing, because that's the end of this part. Let's see what's in 44. Well, this next bit is very satisfying. You have to take the main plastic piece that you get, and your metal piece is up this way, and it's fairly obvious, even from looking at that, what is about to happen. You just have to line it up so that it matches underneath, and as far as I could tell, there'll be no way of getting this wrong. It has to all line up so it fits in there very nicely. And then you are screwing in that hole and that hole, which seems very random to me, but there you go, that's what it says. It doesn't say put anything in there just yet, and the bottom one, or that one, or that one. Maybe that's coming very soon. I feel like I'm stringing my videos out here, just like they're stringing their parts out. And next is, you are using the other screw holes. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's for the slightly shorter screws in those. So let's get that screwed in. Okay, that's all nicely on there, but I'm a bit mystified as to why they wanted us to put so many screws in this really innocuous piece that you're probably not going to see again. And if you're going to tell me that it has to bear a lot of weight, well, why didn't they just make this piece bigger in the first place? As in a solid piece going across, rather than a little frame? Who knows? But anyway, I'm not designing this thing, so I couldn't comment. The next, you're taking the only other piece that you got with this part, and you're putting that on there so that it slightly haphazardly perches itself on the end there, and then you're screwing in that part, or that hole, with one of the black screws, and the top part with one of the shorter silver screws. So let's get that on there. Okay, and that is on there. it was quite awkward getting. I luckily brought myself a, not that one, this one, a slightly thinner screwdriver, at least I think it is, to get in that hole there. That was not easy. So if you are ever doing this, get yourself a very thin screwdriver, because you're going to need it, because otherwise you're going to expand that hole and it will look awful. So that takes us to the end of 44. But before I go, I'm going to bid a very fond farewell to this screwdriver. I don't know if you can see, I don't know if you can tell just by looking at it. Oh, there you go. That is not going to be screwing in anything because it's blunted. That was my free screwdriver that I got to build my R2-D2 with. And it served me all the way through R2-D2 and right up to 44 of the Terminator, which I personally think is very impressive for one little screwdriver that everybody wrote off as being not up to the job. I've loved it. It was really good for finishing off, it wasn't magnetised, but it was really good for finishing off the awkward screws. That makes me sad, but it served me well. It's had a long life. That being said, this is the end of 44. Hope you have enjoyed watching. Please consider subscribing, as always. If you can bear to hear my monotonous voice for any length of time. I'm always grateful to my subscribers, and I'm also always grateful for the comments. That's it for 44, and I will see you next time.